All right. Good evening and welcome. So very soon I'm going to get my guest who is also at the other end, and then we're going to start the chat. Now, few people have started sending me questions to ask Gabi. Well, I promise I'm going to deliver just as you want it. I know that some of you have not met Gabi in a long while, but I promise you, this is going to be one of the very beautiful interviews, as far as I'm concerned. You know, so some are saying, where has Gabi been, and any reason he's been off radio for some time? Well, the thing is, I'm actually going to ask the man, and so I don't think I can answer you that question. He himself is going to help me out with that answer. Perhaps he'll give you the reasons why you've not heard of him, or you've not heard from him, or you've not heard of his voice on any of the radio stations, whether here in the UK or in. Okay, so Gabi's here. Right. Okay. So I'm going to add Gabi to the. Okay, right. Okay, that's the man. Oh yeah, that's right. Now you're making me very jealous because unfortunately I don't have any cup of tea. I've thought of that, but hey, it's good to see you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening to yourself. What's up?
Yes, let me get my. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Oh, the Gabstar himself. First of all, I'd like to appreciate the fact that you avail yourself to come on the Dr. Morton Show. We want to say that we appreciate the fact that your fans way back in Ghana and those here, I've requested that I get this experienced man if you want on the radio. And as I said, I'm really happy, and thank you very much for coming on the show.
Pleasure's mine. The pleasure's mine.
Thank you very much. First of all, a lot of people, apart from few of us who were on the radio way back, who had the opportunity perhaps to have met some of your colleagues at Joy FM through that. So we had a bit of acquaintance. Who is Gabi in the first place, please?
Well, it depends on which Gabi you want to know.
Let's say Gabi Ajite, the very Gabi we know way back in Joy FM. How would you describe yourself, please?
Just music. Somebody who loves music. Music kind of does everything for me. So that's where I gravitate to if I have any spare time. I think music would be the theme. It runs through my whole life, and it's been there. My father loved music. My siblings love music. It was just, it's always been there. It's been like a backbone for the whole family through sad times, through happy times. It's always music.
Okay, so first of all, how was your childhood like? Were you an adventurous child, or you were as calm as myself?
I don't know about adventurous. I'd say probably a little restless, but then again, I mean, I can recount times when I was in nursery school at 3-4 years old, and I didn't get picked up on time, and I kind of wandered out of school. I just wandered down the road. So, so yes, I'd say the restless. I love activity. So, kind of doing nothing and being in one place. It's only happening now in my later years. When I was younger, I was like, nah, I wanted to do something. So I did all the sports I could. I did all the music I could. In Motown, I was like, I did everything. I did football, I did athletics, I did everything, basically, because I just kept myself busy. I just like doing that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's start off with your early education. where did you start, and where were you living? You're in Ghana.
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. Let's get. Okay. So basically, primary school was Rich Church School.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Rich Church, and got very, very fond memories of Rich Church. I was, they had groupings, they had houses at that point. I mean, now I think it's all changed, but then we had teams, were Bennett, Hooper, Saki, and Strong, and I was the captain of Bennett, and the captain of Hooper. I beg your pardon.
Right.
You see, I'm wearing yellow. It's yellow somehow, and I will say this now. It just somehow funnily runs through everything. But yeah, so I was the captain of Hooper. When I was in class 7.
Right.
And Cooper's colors were yellow. In terms of what happened with education-wise, well,
right.
My father was very particular about me winning the Houston Prize, which is being top candidate for the common entrance. It didn't happen. I mean, he wanted it to happen, but I was second. I didn't come in first. It was quite disappointing.
I like your honesty.
I was quite disappointed in that, but yeah, I came in second. Anyway, so now I went to Achimota. Well, Achimota, I went to Livingston.
Wow.
And Livingston House's color is yellow. So there you go, another yellow again. And I was in Livingston because, well, I wouldn't say because, but my brother before me and my brother before him went to Livingston House. So Larry went to Livingston, and Jamie, God rest his soul, Jamie was in Livingston as well. So, so I went to Livingston, and that's yellow. And then lower sixth I did in Okwapiman. And I was in Kwadade House, and I believe Kwadade is yellow. The Okwapiman guys can verify this, but I think Kwadade was yellow as well. So, I mean, yeah, that's been it. And all through that, it was all athletics and music. So in Motown, I was in the choir. I was the head of the bass section. I played bass guitar for the choir. I played in the pop chains. I was playing from 2 hours playing bass, and from 3 hours playing lead guitar. I won best lead guitarist for that year. From 5, I had a band called Illusion, and we played again. So I mean, music has been there. It's always been there. My earliest memories are musical memories, and that's why I can't sort of leave the music scene. And I mean, music is with me. I'm still DJing when I can. So,
right. So, a lot of people have started asking me that they've missed you, and why they don't get you on the radio anymore. They miss your programs, and you have a unique way of captivating them, to the radio.
Well, I thank everyone. This is a long time ago, guys. This is about 20 years. I left Joy in 2001. 21 years. I mean, time has passed by. So I think what you remember is I'm amazing. Yes. Well, radio is always there. Just the same way music is always there. If I find the right opportunity and the right station, I'll do it again, because it's, for me, it's second nature. I like to do it. That's why I was doing it in the first place. I mean, when I started out at Joy, some of my mates didn't believe I wanted to be a presenter. They were like, "Oh, I mean, well, the whole family are lawyers. Everybody's so what are you going to do on the radio?" And they were asking me if I was going to do it part-time, or if I'm going to do it as a hobby or on weekends. And I said, no, I'm generally doing it. I mean, I had the privilege, I'd say privilege, but I had the exposure, so I knew other stations, like foreign stations. Foreign stations, so I mean, like Capital here and BLS in the States, and I knew what they were doing, so I kind of liked it, and I went into it. Plus, when I was in tech, I did the first degree in tech. There was a radio station in Katanga called Contato Radio, and I was on Contato for a year, so I'd already experienced some kind of broadcasting before Joy happened.
Wow. So let's look at how you got into it, whether officially or whether casually. Let's talk about the zeal you had, if not, let's say the passion you had with radio. How did you get into it until you came to Joy FM? Let's say with the prelims, where it started up until you officially became a broadcaster in Accra.
Okay, so a number of things happened. I can't remember which one came before the other, but at some point,
Okay.
KKD had a radio show on was it GBC at the point? I don't know if it was GBC or GAR. I think it was GBC. But anyway, at some point he asked me to come on the show and asked me to do a rap. And that was the point where hip hop had just started out and everybody was, just Run DMC and there's everybody here and there. So he asked me to come and do a little rap on his
Right.
I did that, so I got to sort of see the inside of what GBC was like. I mean, I hadn't seen the inside of studios before then, because I mean, all the stations I knew about, I wasn't able to get into the stations to be able to see anything. So I didn't know what it was like, but yeah, I saw that, and I was kind of excited by it. I liked it. So I got to see him present firsthand, and I thought, okay, that's brilliant. Something that I always wanted to do anyway, because I had the music. I knew the music, and I knew how I liked to present it because I'd heard others present on foreign radio stations. Let's say the stations in the States and some UK. So I knew that I'd like to do that if I had the opportunity, but I wasn't thinking about going on radio. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about doing that until I got wind of Joy FM. And the point I got wind of it because Rami Beatty was on the station. Now, I don't know if you know Rami, but Rami loves his music. He loves his music. Anyway, and Rami had gone to Motown as well. So I thought to myself, something I'd like to do. Let me see what it's like. So how it started out was I spoke with Christine Chum. That was Colonel Chum's daughter. Okay, so because I know Christine through Motown. So someone told me that the station belonged to her uncle, I think. So I went to Christine and said,
"Oh wow."
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I knew where Christine actually lived in Laboni. So I went to Christine's place and I said to her, look, have you got the hookup or not? I mean, can you? And she's like, oh yeah, if I want to do it. I'm looking at thinking, you said, yeah, of course I'd want to do it.
Okay.
So, and my issue at that point was whether the station was legit, because before then Radio I had come out and Radio I got shut down. So I wanted to know whether the station was legit and whether it wouldn't get shut down. And she assured me that was legit. So basically, she put the hookup on, and I had to go meet Kwesi Chulum and go up to Ajankote, because at that point we were not transmitting from Kokomeme, we're transmitting from Ajankote. So we had to go up to Ajankote, and he was like, "Yeah, just go play. Let's see what it sounds like." And I think they had Tommy and Enforcing in, and they had Dusty Wayne, and like the seasoned broadcasters.
I remember all of that. Yeah, go on.
That's supposed to be analyzing or deciding who's good.
That's the way may his soul rest in peace, and then and he's passed away as well. Anyway, so take us through from then when you officially became, the Gapstar, and the name you have actually, made those times till now, until you have that recognition that people have been looking for, and then the drive time, the music, the program you hosted, as you must have seen in my script. Somebody held your hands and then recommended you to any of these guys, apart from what you have narrated through? I mean, no.
Nobody held my hand. What happened was I had to go to Ajankote and play. I played. Mr. Chum heard me. Kwesi Chum heard me, and he was like, he liked what he heard. So his point was okay. Especially since as they put it, he had a better command of English, so I could present. At the point we started at Ajankote, the mics hadn't even been installed, so we're just playing music. When the mics were put in, it was like, okay, so the guys who can express themselves without necessarily committing grammatical errors here and there are the ones that can go on air. So it was Dusty Wayne, Tommy Enforcing, and myself that could go on the air. The other guys were being kind of put through their paces to be able to present. So nobody actually held my hand and said, you can do this or you can't do that. I just found myself, because at that point we didn't have that many broadcasters. We didn't have that many presenters. So Kwesi was more of the driving force. He was like, okay, you take this, you do this, you do that. And we were at that point, each presenter would just come in and take a program and do the program. So anybody was doing lunchtime rhythms, anybody would do the morning show.
Okay.
Until Drive, I was told, when no one else had a program of their own, I was told by Kwesi that this is the program that you're doing. build it. You know, it's going to be a personality-driven program. It's your thing. So drive time started with me. As in drive time, enjoy. As in when you had before then it was being done by anyone else. Before then, it was just anyone comes in and they're ready to take the show and they take the show. But I was given drive and say, look, you run that, and that's going to be your show to do. So I started doing that. But it wasn't the only program I was doing. I was doing Drive on Joy. I was doing, if my memory serves me, I did Friday Night Flavor. I did an oldies program on Sunday morning. I'm trying to remember what it was.
It's a long time ago. What are we talking about? It's over 2 decades now. It's been years.
It's quite a while ago. And I did
yeah.
programs.
My God.
So many of them. And then I did lots of what they call.
You had another TV show as well, and then what I like was your dance. I think your dance, that dance is now being current. You had a particular dance.
Don't start with that.
Anyway, so let's look at what was the inspiration behind all these area of profession. Anybody you admired? Anybody that hit you and thought, you know what, I can do what this man is doing, or I want to be like this man. Probably any of these predecessors. Charlie or Sam, you mentioned a few like Tommy and KKD who mentored you, but then any particular person who when he comes on there, you feel like, you know what, I, for one, a lot of people think because we share a bit of resemblance and I MC events like KKD, so they thought KKD is not somebody who inspired me. Actually, the very person who inspired me was Godwin Avenogbo. I hope, that's right. His style of presentation. Just that coincidentally, I share a lot of similarities with KKD. So any particular person who thought like this guy. In fact, I think I want to do this. If a variety of them, there's quite a few number of them. That's fine. Any one or any few people.
It'll be difficult to say because no, I'm just being honest here. I'm not being funny about it. I really didn't listen to GBC and say, oh, I wanted to do this. I wanted to be like this person. I didn't get that because unfortunately for me, my what I was interested in was more foreign. So I was more interested in WBLS and and I was more interested in Capital and that's what I liked. I listened to the radio in Ghana at that point. I was listening to it for songs that I wanted to hear. So if I know somebody who has played a particular song, yes, I listen to that person, but not necessarily for the presentation. That didn't really, don't forget it was GBC at that point. They were very restricted. The creativity was, let's say, everybody was sounding like everyone. That's it was. You needed to sound a particular way to be on GBC. Yeah, and I didn't really do that. No, I didn't. The names I mentioned were people who were at Joy when I got there. That's why. Yeah. So I mean, Kofi Chakmonu was at Joy when I got there, and Fortune and Dusty Wayne, and they had been on GBC. So they were the guys who had been on radio before, but I wasn't necessarily looking up to eat any of them as in, okay, I want to be like them. I always wanted to be me. So this was the dilemma, and I think that was the issue when I left Joy, because drive time during that period was just me. It was what I liked, how I wanted to behave, how I wanted to act. It was all me. So then it became a bit of an issue when I moved, because then do you try and replicate Gabby, or do you try and take the station, take the program in a different direction? So it took a while, but the guys after me did well. They held it, they've done it, and they're still doing it now. So but I was always going to be me. I pick from here, I pick from there. Some songs I hear from my sister, some songs I hear from my brother Larry, things I put together and present them. And that was, and it was just exposure. It helped me see stuff.
Okay, right. So you have the opportunity to go through the training school in GBC and all of that, at least, not like any other person. Did you have that opportunity? Did you go through?
No, I didn't go through GBC. Nothing.
Oh, okay. Because I met people like Auntie Getty, Charlie, who took her through some few, prelims. Right. So initially, how was getting behind the mic and the console? Was there any tension at all?
No, none whatsoever. That's why it's like second nature. Honestly, the thing was, okay, I was already programming and producing in studios. I had a group called Part 2. and that involved KK Dua of blessed memory, Fafa
Okay.
Black, and myself. And we performed out of K's Frequency, that was KK's studio. I was doing radio and TV jingles way before Joy started, for I think about 4 years, 5 years. So we were doing TV jingles, ABC, Club Bear, Golda Ultimate Reward. What's it called? It was Unicap M. I think they changed it now, but it was a very popular one called Unicap M, which goes, I have vitamin A. And then we did. So microphones, not easy. I turn on the mic and I'll talk. Not fun. And presentation wasn't a problem. No, it wasn't. It's easy. Well, I shouldn't say it's easy. Maybe it's difficult for other people, but for me, it's just second nature. I'll do it.
Oh, okay. Well, so I know that a few radio presenters who even have mastered these days, initially when they started, they fumble with some of the words, especially like GBC, for example, where you pronounce words like musician with a C silent. And then you get Charlie Sam, as I was saying, Auntie Get You, and the rest of them. So, people, they're a bit of tense to it. So when did you realize you've gained grounds and you thought, you know what, I'm no longer a learner, I'm no longer like a starter. Now I can control things, at my own shoulders?
Well, that's you get thrown in the deep end. That's what Joy did. Joy was, this is a big ocean. You can make it. Mr. Chum's thing, as he told us, you can make it as big as you want. You can grow it. If the field needs growing, grow the field. And then so we even on Joy that we had a campaign called Radio Gets Rewards, Radio Gets Results. That's what. So basically, it's to say you grow the market, and there's more. So I got thrown in at the deep end. I was like, okay, you can present and you can express yourself and you can make people understand what you're saying. So go do what you can. And at that point, there was lots of shows, and you had to kind of go into different shows. So I was doing different shows, and for me, that was like going on the deep end because I didn't know anybody who was presenting all these programs and doing them. I just went to my dad's collection. I was like, okay, I'm going to play Edmondo Ross, or I'm going to play, Lord Sinner. These are things that my dad was listening to. And I thought, oh, well, why not? Pick them out, listen to them, present them, do a little bit of research, find out what Kitchener is doing, find out what this person is doing, that kind of stuff, and then go on the radio and present. So it was pretty much coming out of my head. It wasn't really like I saw anyone doing it. I heard it in my head, kind of hear it the way you want it, and you present it that way.
Well, the reason I find you exceptionally, unique is because with your presentation at Joy FM, I mean, I could feel the command, not just the English language, but the fact that you had the program at your fingertips. I mean, you could just do the program, bring in any problem at all, get it sorted and stuff like that. Well, we have colleagues who, I don't want to be very specific about certain presenters, but that idea that, listen, I don't need a coach anymore to run me through maybe how to use these machines. And then what was that confidence coming from?
Basically from what I was doing before, because
I think from the passion of it.
So the radio station for me is very basic. You've got a console that has faders. You don't have to deal with mixing. You don't have to deal with, tones and treble. It's just you got faders.
Right.
That's where you're opening a fader and your music is playing.
Right.
Joy FM had limiters, so we didn't have to have of course, you didn't want to squash the hi-fi, so you didn't want to send the fader too high up because then you lose the high fidelity. But apart from that, there's really nothing to it. It's a matter of hearing it in your head and saying, so you got the cones on and you want to know how much of my voice should I hear over the music. You need to gauge that. And nobody taught me that. You just kind of, you want to be heard, but you don't want to interfere with the music. So you find some presenters are, constantly taking faders up and down.
Right.
Some presenters hold a fader in one position where they can talk over the music. It's entirely up to you as to what works for you. So I found my comfortable spot, and I stuck with it. So I didn't really, there wasn't a point where I thought, okay, I don't need any more coaching. I always thought I could fly, just let me fly.
No one is best, yeah.
The issue wasn't really with me, it wasn't really whether I could fly, it's whether people would like my flight. That was more my thing. My thing was, okay, I'm going to present this, I'm going to present that. and let's see what the reaction is.
Okay.
That's what I did. So that's how, I mean, because I would never have played Lord Kitchener, some very risky songs. But
Right.
but I looked at, I thought, okay, I'll step out into this area and see what happens. I'll step out into this area and see what happens. So I mean,
Mhm.
I was playing Dre, and I was playing, I'd play a mixture of stuff. I'd go from
Mm.
the most calm tracks. I played Storm Warning from Bob James, and the next minute I'm playing Who Am I from Beanie Man. It's
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I want. So I did that.
All right. These Mel B song, this group of English girls who you were using most of the time for your drive time program. Mel B and the very what's their names? Oh,
Spice Girls.
Spice Girl, that's right. What was that music to you? You used it quite often with your drive time program.
Which song are you referring to? Which song?
Yeah.
Because I honestly didn't.
Oh.
I didn't really take to the Spice Girls. So I'm amazed you're saying that. I didn't really take to them. There are a couple of tracks from the Spice Girls that
Very popular ones. I can't remember them anyway. So let's switch a little bit from that anyway. Now come to who Gabby is. There are certain presenters, or there are some presenters, including myself. I mean, we're all over the place. Are you a private person, or what sort of person are you? I mean, years ago, someone like Kwame Bampo and all that, wherever there are events, he goes and picks up a mic and off he goes. He's there. But we hardly find Gabi. As I'm saying, I'm sure that's why a lot of people are like, so what kind of person is Gabi then? Are you a private person, or is only when you approached, then one would know who you are? Are you that sort of person?
I tend to mind my business. I'm not being weird, but I mean, something doesn't
bother you. It has nothing to do with you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if I've been asked to do it, yes, I'll do it. If I'm interested in doing it, then yes. But I'm not going to get into somebody's gig just because there's a microphone there. Nah,
because you're Gabi.
No, I'd much rather not do that. So that wouldn't be me. I mean, and these days I actually don't do very much MCing. I'm more DJing than MCing. I'd much rather someone else does the MCing and let me just play the music. But unless, of course, people know me and want to hear my voice. But yeah, the thing with me is I had this scruffy voice, and I never really understood, because my dad's voice was very clear. He didn't have this raspy, scruffy thing that I had. I don't know how I got it, but weirdly enough, my son now has it. So I don't know how he's got it. So yeah, but yeah, it's all been just stuff in my head that I'm trying to bring out things and trying to polish it up. People help along the way, and you have to be like a sponge and pick up stuff from people. But
right, so I've got a question for you. Somebody's saying, with all these talents you have, they believe it's not faded yet. Are you coming back on radio, or you?
If the proposition, if the opportunity is right, yes, I will. I have no issues. I could be on radio tomorrow morning. I could be on. It's not a problem at all. That's easy. Like I said, it's second nature to me. I'll get the music there. I'll get there and I'll perform and I'll present. It depends on what I'm doing on the air. Presentation itself is not a problem. It's
right.
Whether the program is one that's needed or wanted or desired. Yes, then we can talk. And obviously, it's got to be right, because when you're younger, you don't have as many pressing issues. You're young. And when I was on Joy, I was still living in my dad's house in East Cantonment. So I didn't have to pay any rent. Didn't have any children. So obviously you just make your money, spend your money, and carry on. But as you grow older, your responsibilities then become different. So I'm not going to spend 10 hours on the radio now and say, well, I just want to do it because people want to hear the Gapster. I mean, I've got to earn a living. So it's got to be right. If it's right, absolutely, why not?
Right. So let's delve into the music career. You had the Sammy B collabo, a very song that was quite popular. Is it? People wanted to know if it was your idea behind the Ayawanka music, or who was that song for?
No, that was me. That was Sammy B. That was all Sammy B. I had set up a studio because I needed to do that, because we were working out of K's Frequency. That was KK Studio, and he had to run it as a business. So basically, more often than not, we couldn't get airtime. We couldn't get time to get in there, because there are people booking the studio to do their albums, do their things. And I thought, look, rather than have to sit and wait, why don't I just set up my studio? So I set up my own. I made Gabe's Jukebox, and Now, as I set up, I thought, okay, well, what's the harm? I could produce a few guys. So I got a few people that I thought I could produce. I tried to put them on a label, which was Gaps Entertainment. It was Part 2 Entertainment at that point, I think. So we had Atame. I got a group called Atame, and there was another. There was Kasim, and then Kwame Bampo was he came to the studio and said, let's do something, because he had done something, I think, before on either with Rockstone or with I don't know if you've done anything with Mark Okreku Mante.
When I know him at Slip Records when he was at Eclipse.
So that was the whole idea. So I thought, look, let's put something together. So that was one track I did with Kwame Bampo, and that was the only one we did. We didn't do any other. I mean, it was his idea. I heard him perform some of the lyrics, and I thought, okay, well, let's build a song around it. So all the instrumentation was done by me. All the program was done by myself. Basically, that's what Gabe's Jukebox was just me performing and programming everything. And then I'd have the artists come and do their vocals. So the same thing was with Kasim, and same thing with Atame. It was just me doing all the instrumentation. I'd get of them, obviously. I'd like to know what direction they were going in, what they'd like to hear, whether this worked for them, whether that worked for them. You basically work in the studio and try and come to a point where everybody's happy with what they're hearing. And then we move forward. So yeah, that was the whole. So it wasn't my idea. I my key was terrible. The only songs that I put out.
Terrible.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a guy boy. It's just the way it is.
That's right.
So
I don't know if somebody's calling. Oh, okay. I've got messages coming in. Oh dear, Jesus Christ! There's lots of them, and I'm going to need you to answer all these. Okay, so this is talking over the music reminds me of Kalajiman, Bannerman. As they say, yep. When GBC2 resigned, or is it Supreme? Okay, so I have Heavy D, your very Heavy D friend mate in Ghana, who I interviewed on the show earlier. He said Gabi is also a singer. Ask him if his song Amina, I believe he was in a band.
Yeah, I just said I had a group called Part 2.
Okay.
2, yeah, we had Fafa was the lead vocalist, KK Dua and myself did the instrumentation.
Okay.
Who do you say was that? Was that Heavy D that asked the question?
Yeah, Heavy D, the very Anachi Heavy D.
Okay, so he has some inside information because Amina was never released. So the song he's referring to never got released. Really, I don't believe so, because unless we put it out on Sayo, which I don't think we put it out on Sayo. So it was a song that it was there, but we played it, but I don't think I ever put it out as in for sale. Okay. So yeah, that's
He continued with the question as to whether you still like to be what did he say? He said was right. So would he still be interested in production?
I'm still interested in what I was interested in when I was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm still interested in everything. I could go into studios and produce right now and have no problem. I still have equipment to do that. But my point being is now time is of the essence. I don't have that much.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. If it made sense, if it made financial sense, if it was something that I had time to do, absolutely, I would. Well, same.
Okay, so let me take this question personally. If I want to ask you, if your it's music, your this thing itself, music itself, is it your passion? Is it something you would have liked to pursue?
I'm still doing what I wanted to do with music. I mean, I still DJ. I still collect music. I still exchange music with my brother Larry. We're still talking about who this person. I recently, I just found a jazz trumpeter from Ukraine who's was born in Salt Pond, and I listened to his music, and he's pure jazz. I mean, this is unbelievable trumpeting, and I mean, I'm still looking for stuff like that. You find stuff, and I share it. Yeah, I'm still in there.
Right. So with the I was going to ask you a very simple question. When you moved down from Ghana to here in this part of the world, it's a very busy part of the world. Now, you must have still followed radio, listened to a few people who have also shown interest in radio and are now on air. I interviewed Poncho, and Poncho says he feels very gutted with some of the pronunciation of these, current presenters, including names like, or some of the sentences like listeners out there, and he feels very gutted. Anything you find very difficult to understand? Don't laugh, Gabi. Anything you find weird with a radio presentation lately, as far as your time was concerned?
I wouldn't want to nitpick. Everyone has challenges. I believe everyone has challenges, and some people's challenges are just a bit more pronounced because they don't set about trying to overcome them. So they end up normalizing, for want of a better word. They normalize things that shouldn't be the way they are. So they end up saying stuff over and over again, and then it sounds normal to them, and then they keep doing it. But we all have pitfalls. I must say, we all have pitfalls.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
You just try and improve yourself as you go along, and you try and better yourself. And if there's, I remember Kofi Chakwan telling me once before when we started at Joy that he used to pick up a newspaper and read out loud. Just pick up a newspaper and just read out loud, and you can hear yourself, and you can hear whether this sounds right, or whether you can check on that, or whether the phonetics of this is correct, or that, you need to put work into it. It's not the fact that it comes to you naturally doesn't mean you can't make mistakes.
That's right.
You need to tell yourself that there's a learning curve every day, and you learn something new every day, and you try and better yourself. So certain things that we might have said or pronounced in a particular way, you find the right pronunciation, and you change and you move on. But you won't sound the same, or you won't say the same things from day one as you say on day 20. You should have learned something by day 20.
Individually, as I was saying, whether you assess somebody who is good at radio, with perhaps his pronunciation of words or his style of presentation, how do you see radio from then and now?
Okay, so this is just me being honest, and I hope nobody takes it the wrong way, but I find it difficult to listen. I honestly find it difficult to listen.
You didn't listen to radio at all?
No, certain stations. No, I can listen to Smooth and I'm fine. I can listen to Magic and I'm good. Listen to Capital and I'm good. I have no problems with that. I'm talking about back in Ghana. Some stations are difficult to listen to in terms of how it's being pronounced, how things are being pronounced or how it's being presented. But the thing is, it's not for me to say, I'm not the authority. I'm not the person. They're presenting the way they want to, or the way they like to. And it's up to me to say, oh, I like this and I'll listen, or I don't like it and I won't listen. So not really, I'm not the encyclopedia. I'm not the authority on it. So, but I find it sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's horribly painful to listen. So I find myself tuning out.
Right. Okay. So now you with the experience you've had, if you have to get back in radio, or let's say, what did you do that you never forget, if not to have regretted it? Anything you think you did that you wish you had not done that?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Nothing you would have done better than you did?
Oh, of course, I'd have excelled. If I wanted, I would have excelled. If I could have been a better version of myself, I'd have loved that. But I wouldn't want to be anybody else. I just wanted to be me. And if I needed to be able to improve me. And that was what I was putting out there, because it's a very difficult life to try and be someone else or try and emulate someone else. It's a chasing game. You're constantly chasing. And it depends on who you're chasing. Are you chasing somebody at the top, or are you chasing somebody who is just an also run? In terms of my TV, when I was on TV, the things I picked up, and some of them were from Bill Cosby, because I'd seen Bill Cosby a number of times, and I thought I liked the fact that he would go into something and just be himself and be silly and be, and that's what I did for TV when I was doing the Waiter Family Fun. It was all a case of just be me, just be. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're supposed to be this, or you're Peter Jetty's son," and that. And I was like, "No, this is me. I'm just going to be me." So I'll do certain things were quirky, certain things were silly, certain things were, but it's just having fun. It's just me having fun and trying to make. That's what I do on the radio as well. It somehow translates, even though you can't see the person these days, you can. But if you're really happy in the studio and you're playing with that kind of happiness, it translates. People can hear it. That's what.
Right. So I read about some of the tributes your wrote when may his soul rest in peace, Komala Dumo. You said the first time he walked into the studio, you're the very person he met or something. Did you write anything like that, or when he was? I read a few comments about Nana Dankwa, a few of you when he died. Anyway, let's put that aside. How was that of a big blow to you when Komala passed? I know this was a huge loss to the entire Ghana, especially the media perspective. Um, um, how did that hit you? How did you feel when you realized a colleague who was very close to you, it's gone off the radio?
Well, he wasn't on the radio by that point. At that point, he was with the BBC now. So he wasn't really on Joy. And I had left. I'd been away from Joy for quite a while. That event was, how should I put it? It was unexpected and it was very unpleasant. But from a personal perspective, at that point, I lost my brother a year before.
Jamie,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, we lost Jamie in 2013.
Oh, dear.
So and to this date, I haven't gotten over that. So for me, it was more of a case of, okay, well, my brother went and I haven't gotten over it, and then do more passes. And I mean, I know that the public perception was that we were running mates and we were rolling, and that wasn't really the scenario. That's not the truth. I mean, he had his own thing he was doing, and I had my own thing I was doing. So we weren't like running mates. We're professional. If we were in the same space, we would do what we had to do. So everybody kind of thought that, oh yeah, their bodies are there. We weren't actually that. I mean, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
We're both professionals trying to make sure that we delivered what we needed to deliver. So anyone ever saw us together and you think, oh well, that's in their bodies, but that wasn't the case. Anyhow, but I found out I was here and I found out that Dumo had passed. I had to conduct some inquiries and everyone wanted me, for some reason, all my friends wanted me to kind of to give them the nod and say, well, yes, it's true. And I'm like, it's not really down to me. I need to get in touch with the family. So I was trying to get in touch with the family. I was trying to get in touch with Cox and everybody else who had links for them to say, okay, well, is this really true? And when I found out that it was, then I said to people, okay, fine. I've got concrete information that it has happened. It's unfortunate it's happened. And that was pretty much it. I wasn't in Ghana when his body was brought back, but he made such an impact that, it's to be expected because he was driving. He wanted to get to the moon and the stars and everything. So that was sad.
How was Komla like? If you have a personal encounter with, apart from those of us who knew him from afar. I mean, I met him a few occasions when he was doing parliamentary report, Elias 4-5 o'clock. So I believe Komla deserves so many accolades, apart from the prize, the fact that he won Best Journalist of the Year, which had a bit of controversies and all that. But how do you find Komla? How was the relationship like?
Well, just like I just told you, we were running mates, but I didn't follow exactly I didn't know when he left to go to BBC. Honestly, when I left Joy, I wasn't doing anything with Joy at that point. I was doing law at that point, and my mind was somewhere else. So I wasn't really focused on that. But I knew that he was presenting on the BBC, and I was aware of that, but I didn't follow the shows. Whenever he was on, I could catch it. I would catch most of his stuff on YouTube and stuff. I didn't watch them live. But I'd been into BBC for a visit a number of times and seen what the setup was like. So I know what the situations were like, what the circumstances were like, what kind of conditions he had to work under. I'd seen all of that. So I mean, the man paid his dues. He started off as on my program. He came in to present for the Mobitel Traffic Watch.
Right.
That was on Joy FM when I was doing Drive. And the first day he showed up for work, he had lost his voice. And I thought to myself that, hang on, it's a radio show. Yeah. So if you don't have a voice, what are you doing? But so he tried to talk his way through it, and it was raspy. You couldn't hear any. But after I turned the mics off, I asked him to let me see the slip of paper. Because he actually scripted what he was going to say. Some presenters want to wing it; they just want to get in there and say what they have to say. But he scripted it. Right. So he had it written down. So I thought, okay, well, let me have a look at what you wrote. And he showed it to me. And I was quite impressed with what he wrote because he had made references to Barry White, saying that on a normal day his voice is deeper than Barry White's and stuff. And I thought, okay, there's something interesting there. And at that point, even though I didn't like the first because I couldn't hear everything you were saying, I thought, okay, I'll give him a chance. And so I got called by Anne Saki, who was then in Mobitel, I believe, and she wanted to know from me after he did that presentation whether he should be kicked off the show or not, whether he should be or not. And my recommendation was give the guy a chance, let him come back when he has a voice, and let's see what happens. And that's where he started coming in. That was when he got on Joy, basically, because if I had said no, then he'd have had to go somewhere else. I'm sure he'd shine anywhere else, but that was going to be it. But yeah, anyway, so he came back and proved himself. Yeah.
Right. So during your time, you had some excellent presenters like Nana Dankwa. I keep mentioning, in fact, she was my favorite, apart from the GBC, where you had Na Ajili Adefiu. Was that the name? I mean,
honestly, I don't know the names. I'm being honest, I didn't really listen.
I had training at GBC, so I was meeting the very gifted auntie who is all over the place recently, Kate Adu, who was now whether a communication minister or something, and I was meeting KKD and the rest of them. But Nana Dankwa was actually an exceptional when it comes to lady. Well, that was my observation. Those people, well, any of the lady, Doreen and those women who, you thought they were extremely very good. Probably your mates. I mean, let's leave the boys aside, and we'll come back to that. We don't have like all those ladies anymore. We'd have just.
People pass through. I mean, with Doreen.
Sorry to cut you. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are other TV presenters like Nana Ba and Number One TV3 who I know very well, and a few TV personalities. So I'm not sure of the surname, but radio, the women, we don't seem to have all those sort of clouds anymore.
Well, yeah, like I said, seasons and times, people move on. The thing to do is nurture. You scout for talent. That's what you should be doing, really, scouting for talent, looking for people that you can keep there, and then making their time worthwhile while they're with you. Right. With in terms of Doreen, I've spoken about this before. Doreen came in and was committed. She was very committed. At that point,
was that Ajua Edu? Was that the name?
Yes.
Was a female presenter, law student, Ajua Edu. Very smart woman.
Was also good. I don't study at the point. I think she was in university, so she had stuff to do. So she wasn't constantly on the radio. But yeah, but she was also. It was a case of what you love to do and whether you're going to put your time into it.
Right.
And I can only speak. I know Doreen personally that she put a lot of time and effort into presentation, and she didn't come in as a music presenter. Originally, she came in and was asked to read the news. At that point, Joy FM was really trying to find its feet with news presentation because, like you mentioned before, we had issues with mispronunciation, which wasn't a brilliant thing for us. So we were very, very pained to try and find someone who could deliver. And the first time Doreen read the news, we had about 6 of us in the studio standing over and trying to say, look, can this get delivered properly? And she delivered, and with the mics on, you can't, nobody's in the studio, nobody's talking. So everyone just silent until she finished the news, and the mics were turned off, and everybody just started yelling. I mean, it's just like, okay, we've nailed it. We know that we can get it done. It can be done. And so, yeah, because it was a matter of how do you present yourself? How do you communicate? And she did that well. But obviously, she didn't stick with the news because music came in. She likes music as well. So music presentation took over.
Oh, wow. Right. So let's come home. Gabi, what food is Gabri's favorite?
Please, come on, man.
Hello, Umo.
I don't, let's just put it this way. I don't miss
anything goes. Anything goes.
I don't miss stuff that I didn't really like. And some people jump on my neck for this, but it's just truth. I don't miss fufu. I don't miss banku. I don't miss any of them. I do miss, and I need all the time, trying to find wache that I need. That's nice. And red is on point.
Gabo, is it?
Red with beans is my thing. I'm good with that. But most of the other stuff, I really don't miss. I don't. Even when I go home, I'm not looking for that. The last time I was back there, Rox Wache. I went to get Rox Wache, and that was good. That was on point.
Are you a football fan?
Absolutely. I'm a gunner. I'm a phobia boy.
Right. So any of the English teams here?
I just said I'm a gunner. Arsenal. Arsenal's my team. Win, lose, or die, Arsenal's my team. That's the way we go.
Well, as you started off talking about, as far as you love music, so I cannot pinpoint and ask you a particular genre of music that that interests you.
No, because I'm across. There's things I tend to exclude things rather than include things because I listen to most stuff. So one day I'm trying to listen to classical. My son plays classical piano, so I listen to classical stuff, and I'll go into reggae, hip hop, high life, zouk. I'll go into everything. One thing I don't go into though is headbanging music. I don't do heavy metal. There might be a few heavy metal bands that I will listen to, and but I might listen to Evanescence, and I might listen to the old school Bon Jovis and stuff. But I don't do heavy music. No, I don't have the hair for it. I couldn't do that. So.
Anyway, so any particular musician you won't listen to the whole day?
Oh, I listen to almost everyone. Like anyone putting out something nice that I can listen to, I listen to. I'm looking for new things. So I tend to go to Rockstone's page. Roger Rockstone's page. He's currently plugs a few guys that come up, so I listen to them. Anyone that's making some waves, I'll listen to, and I try to find new stuff. So try to find big things that people are not necessarily listening to that I like, and put them out. So.
Right, I think time is up. I'm going to ask you last more question, and then what I want to know is, in 5-10 years, where are we going to find the Gapster?
Hopefully alive and well. That's the first thing I want.
This is good for that.
Hopefully alive and well. I don't know. I can't really say. If I have my way, I'll still be in music somehow. I don't think I'll be DJing, but if 10 years from now people still want to hear me DJ, I will. If it's radio, then so be it. The main thing is to be alive and well, and find a place where I can be happy, and that's normally with music. So my earliest memories are of music. So that's how it should be.
Okay, so a very big fan of you, Richard Manson, Bobo. He said, "My Gapster." He said, Right. So finally, you've got a few people who wish that we could go on with this interview. As I said, I appreciate the fact that you made yourself available first. What do you have for your fans? What finally are you going to tell them?
Well, I didn't think I had any fans. I mean, I've been off radio for 20
What I personally mean by fans are people who miss the voice of Gabby and then wish they could still hear you on radio.
Hopefully something will happen. Something materializes. Yes, I'll take it. If someone makes the right offer, I'll be there. That's not a problem. That's easy. Yeah. And I'd love to do it in a heartbeat, as long as it makes sense.
All right. Thank you very much, Gabby, for making
this come. Pleasure's mine.
And you have a good day, good evening, sir.
Take care. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Okay, so those of you who watch, that was my guest for tonight, Gabby. Majete is mostly known as Gapster. Really want to say that we appreciate all of you who made your comments, your messages. Unfortunately, I couldn't read all because our time is up. But hey, we'll see what else we could. Just keep your fingers crossed. Let's look at who we have next on the show. As I said, normally, I don't want to, give you the impression that you know who is coming next, but it's going to be a surprise. And then we'll look at what we have. Stay safe. Right, so tomorrow we're here with the breakfast show, as usual on Hits Africa Radio, with all the events that goes on both worldwide, Africa and Ghana. Do have a good evening. My name is Dr. Morton.
Nyame be akane bi e abole iba she Oh, be chinu watane le yuma babako yinya don be logoligi no woyo ni kawo logoligi no ne ke be mene wole ake mene hogba ni ma hogba na ma hogba ni agbe na nyo ni di pe nyo ma nyo ke kumi olugbe nyo ma ke bi nyo me enyo ke enyo no di no ni woyo ne no be ke ake agbe na be me arabata ulo